What happens when a longtime friend turns away and speaks out? For Serena Williams, it meant abandoning years of loyalty to reveal what she now believes were layers of deceit surrounding Meghan Markle's public life. Her criticism wasn't vague. It went straight to the heart. The pregnancy, the wedding, the friendship, all of it painted as performances for the public eye.
If you love getting the real story behind the palace walls, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and tap the notification bell so you never miss an update.
The woman who once stood beside Meghan is now the one pulling back the curtain, and her words hit with a weight of betrayal, casting doubt not only on Meghan's image but on the foundation of her marriage to Prince Harry. Now, rumors of Harry's month-long separation from Meghan aren't just tabloid spinning narratives. They are signs of a couple under enormous internal strain. With Serena's words framing the potential collapse, the focus shifts to what's left beneath the surface. Legal uncertainties, crumbling public ventures, and speculation around royal legitimacy now swirl around the Sussexes, pointing toward a broader undoing. The friendship may be over, but the consequences of that break are only beginning to take shape, reshaping how the world views both Meghan and the institution she once married into. Serena Williams isn't exactly known for stirring the pot, but when she does, it's not a splash. It's a cannonball. The tennis icon, once one of Meghan Markle's closest celebrity confidants, has taken a sudden and sharp turn away from the Sussexes. Off-the-record remarks leaked from her inner circle made one thing crystal clear. Serena is done playing along with Meghan's version of the truth. Her comments weren't vague. Serena allegedly called Meghan's entire pregnancy storyline staged, casting a long shadow over the 2019 New York baby shower that had been broadcast to the world as a celebration of motherhood. According to Serena, it was more optics than joy, and she wasn't shy about what she thought was really going on. It didn't stop at the baby shower. Serena reportedly expressed doubt that Meghan had been pregnant at all, suggesting instead that the Duchess may have used a surrogate or even a prosthetic belly. That kind of accusation doesn't just rock the PR image, it detonates it. Meghan's carefully cultivated image as a modern royal mom suddenly looks more like a performance and less like a personal milestone. The tension between Meghan and Serena has been bubbling under the surface for a while, missing each other's events, no longer being photographed together. And now this, an outright public crack in a friendship once paraded through every major media outlet.
If you love getting the real story behind the palace walls, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and tap the notification bell so you never miss an update.
At the center of this unraveling, Prince Harry, who, according to multiple sources, has been living separately from Meghan for over a month. 1 month of distance between a couple known for clinging to each other in public. No hand-holding, no shared engagements, no subtle PR moves to squash the rumors. Nothing. This reported separation has fueled speculation about the state of their marriage, with insiders whispering about everything from legal preparations to emotional detachment. For a couple that's always emphasized unity against outside forces, the silence is louder than any press release. This isn't the first time the Sussexes' public narrative has faced skepticism, but Serena's withdrawal hits differently. Her voice doesn't just echo celebrity gossip, it reshapes it. Serena was there, in the rooms, behind the scenes. If she's questioning the legitimacy of the baby shower, the pregnancy, and the royal wedding experience, then that storyline of authenticity Meghan has sold for years just took a direct hit. The baby shower itself had already raised eyebrows. Lavish gifts, A-list attendees, and tabloid coverage that looked more like a Hollywood PR campaign than a traditional celebration. Serena now claims it was all for show, and worse, that many attendees had no idea what they were actually celebrating. These cracks go far beyond personal betrayal. The royal family is watching closely, because if the pregnancy is in question, so are the titles. If there was a surrogate, and it wasn't disclosed, it would pose legal and constitutional issues for the status of Meghan and Harry's children within the line of succession. And there's no royal manual for this kind of scandal. Questions are reportedly circulating inside the palace, not just about Archie and Lilibet's standing, but also about whether Harry and Meghan should continue to hold any royal titles at all. The monarchy thrives on stability, lineage, and image. This threatens all. The uncertainty surrounding Archie and Lilibet has become a lightning rod for debate. Are they legally in line for the throne? Will their Her Royal Highness status be recognized in future royal records? It's a bureaucratic and symbolic tangle, and the silence from Meghan and Harry's camp has only made it worse. While the public fumbles for answers, the children are being dragged into a narrative not of their own making. Their existence, previously seen as a heartwarming extension of a fairy tale, now sits at the center of a potential constitutional storm. King Charles is reportedly less than amused. Already dealing with internal palace headaches and external public pressure, he is now staring down a credibility issue that reaches back to his own bloodline. The Sussex drama was once a tabloid issue. Now it's a constitutional dilemma. There's talk that Charles would consider formal action, such as removing titles or clarifying succession laws, especially if more concrete evidence or accusations emerge. Whether or not that happens, the optics alone are damaging. Every new headline chips away at the family's global. Then there's Catherine, once viewed as the elegant counterweight to Meghan's disruptive entry into royal life. She's been noticeably absent from the drama. But sources close to the palace say she hasn't been untouched by the fallout. Her role, increasingly focused on continuity and grace, now includes helping the family maintain face during a full-blown narrative collapse. The Sussex implosion doesn't just affect Meghan and Harry. It reverberates through every member of the firm. Catherine, especially, must navigate the emotional and political tightrope of staying silent while the walls around the family structure begin to tremble. William isn't staying silent, though not directly. Sources suggest he's furious, not just about the damage to the institution, but about the strain on their father. The William-Harry rift has only deepened with time, and now, with the legitimacy of royal lineage under attack, it's become less of a sibling spat and more of a philosophical divide. William stands as a future monarch trying to reinforce tradition. Harry, meanwhile, has become the face of disruption. If there's any hope of reconciliation, it likely won't come until this media firestorm cools. And judging by Serena's bombshell, that isn't happening anytime soon. There's no walking back a statement like this. Serena Williams, once a bridesmaid to Meghan's rise, has effectively torched the bridge. Her comments have recentered the media conversation not just on Meghan's personal integrity, but on the entire brand Harry and Meghan have built. They've lost Netflix deals, stumbled through press controversies, and now, thanks to Serena, are facing open questions about the very foundation of their public story. The fallout from this isn't just reputational. It's legal, it's institutional, and it's deeply personal. So now we're left with this, a fractured royal couple, a crumbling friendship, and a rising tide of public scrutiny. Whether Meghan and Harry can recover from this remains to be seen. But one thing's clear, their carefully curated narrative just took a hit from someone who knew them best. Don't forget to like, share, comment your thoughts, and subscribe for more breakdowns of the chaos unraveling behind palace. For someone who once made headlines with every outfit, Meghan Markle has been unusually quiet lately. No solo red carpet appearances, no new initiatives, and absolutely no sign of the power couple persona she and Harry had banked everything on. It's not just the silence, it's the vacuum, and the absence of speaking volumes. Behind that silence is a growing sense of retreat. Sources close to the Sussex Circle hint that Meghan has pulled back from public engagements altogether, not just out of strategy, but out of necessity. With rumors swirling about the authenticity of her motherhood journey and the erosion of her inner circle, it seems like the curated spotlight she once chased has turned into something she can't control. For his part, hasn't exactly been waving from the rooftops either. His solo sightings have been minimal and notably disconnected from Meghan. People who once defended the couple's every move are now asking the obvious question, where's Harry living? Reports suggest they've been separated physically for weeks. Not a casual business trip, not a short break, but a full-blown month-long distance with no timeline for return. If that's not a red flag for a relationship in freefall, what if? This wasn't always the case. Just 2 years ago, Meghan and Harry were gracing magazine covers and recording podcasts about vulnerability and resilience. Their story was about survival, how they left a monarchy to find peace, purpose, and autonomy. But now, it's spiraling. Their brand, once built on empathy and defiance, is stuck in a contradiction, demanding privacy while chasing relevance. And that contradiction has caught up to them. The public has started noticing the cracks. Meghan's absence from major events, Harry's solo appearances, the cancelled projects, the dried-up partnerships. There's nothing stable to point to anymore. Not in business, not in branding, and clearly not in their personal lives. Within the royal institution, This is being watched with cold calculation. The family might not comment publicly, but they understand the stakes. The Sussex narrative was always a liability, a rogue branch with unpredictable moves. Now that the narrative is fracturing under its own weight, the palace has an opportunity to restore order. Whispers from palace insiders suggest discussions have reignited around title removals, not just for Harry and Meghan, but for their children too. The logic is brutal. If the foundation of the Sussexes' story is compromised, the monarchy must preserve its own by cutting ties. That brings us right back to Archie and Lilibet. Their existence, once seen as a modern extension of the royal family's evolution, now faces uncertain status. If the speculation about Meghan's pregnancies proves true, or even continues unchecked, the issue becomes legal, not just symbolic. No one wants to question the status of two innocent children. But in the context of succession, titles, and monarchy, clarity matters. Without transparency, the palace may be forced to take action just to prevent future constitutional challenges. King Charles has always tried to straddle the line between tradition and adaptation, but the Sussex saga has forced him to lean harder into preservation. His focus is no longer on family unity, it's about legacy. Sources close to the palace say Charles is tired, not in the casual, everyday sense, but in the existential, monarchy-defining sense. He's reportedly reached a point where keeping Harry and Meghan attached to the royal brand is more risk than benefit, especially when every new headline invites doubt, scandal, or outright disbelief. It's not lost on royal watchers that through all this, Princess Catherine has stayed poised and publicly steady. She's taken on more solo duties, smiled through more awkward events, and absorbed more silent scrutiny than ever. Her role now is less about visibility and more about consistency. In contrast to Meghan's growing absence, Catherine has become a kind of quiet anchor. Still, it's not easy. With every new round of drama from the Sussex side, Catherine's world becomes more strained. The toll of being the stable one while her husband and his brother drift further apart isn't just emotional, it's strategic. Every move she makes is now being weighed against Meghan's collapse. Meanwhile, Serena's revelations have unleashed a media frenzy. She hasn't walked back any of her claims, and her silence since the bombshell only reinforces a message. She said what she said. What's most shocking is how deliberate it seems. Serena wasn't caught off guard in a random interview. This felt like a choice, a conscious, final step away from a friendship that no longer serves her, or one that never felt fully honest to begin with. And in doing so, she sparked a public reckoning not just with Meghan, but with the entire royal celebrity crossover narrative. Prince William isn't making peace offerings anymore. The last straw may have already passed, and his patience is running thin. He's reportedly done trying to protect Harry from consequences. At this point, William is focused on preparing for his future role, which means streamlining the royal image and minimizing external threats. And yes, Harry and Meghan are now considered a threat. Not just emotionally, but institutionally. Every scandal, every whisper about fake pregnancies or marriage breakdowns reflects poorly on the monarchy. William knows that, and is not in the business of enabling instability. What's left of the Sussex fairy tale is hard to recognize. The brand deals are mostly gone. Their fan base is fractured. Even their own allies, once diehard defenders, have distanced themselves. Meghan's podcast was pulled. Their Netflix deal reportedly shrank, and their joint public appearances have disappeared entirely. This isn't just a phase or a quiet period. It looks like a full collapse in slow motion. Meghan retreating from the spotlight, Harry reportedly seeking distance. Former friends like Serena drawing hard lines. It's the kind of downfall that feels inevitable in hindsight, but shocking in real. Meghan's team hasn't issued any denial, no clarifying statement. No subtle Instagram comeback, just radio silence. And for someone who's mastered media, that's telling. It's not damage control, it's retreat. Her absence, her refusal to counter Serena's words, has become its own kind of admission. The woman who once spoke about living authentically on Oprah is now being accused of constructing one of the most tightly wound facades in recent celebrity memory. From motherhood to marriage, it's all under scrutiny, not just from the public, but from people who once had her back. That's what makes Serena's words so potent. This wasn't a YouTube pundit or a gossip columnist. This was someone who flew across the country to throw a baby shower, stood by Meghan during press wars, and called her sister. And now she's done. It shifts the tone completely. Because Serena isn't just a former friend. She's a credibility bomb. She saw the belly. She was in the room. And if she's casting doubt, the rest of us are just trying to catch up. The trust Meghan once leaned on to build her public persona is collapsing from the... And then there's Harry, caught in the middle of it all. Or maybe not so much in the middle anymore. His reported absence, his separation from Meghan for more than a month, it's no longer speculation. Sources close to the couple confirm they've been physically apart and emotionally disconnected for weeks. This isn't the Harry we saw defending Meghan against tabloids. This isn't the man storming out of the UK because his wife felt unsafe. This is someone quietly stepping back, as if exhausted by the constant reinvention. And maybe, just maybe, starting to question the reality of the life they built. Their public image was once their power. The united front, the shared trauma, the escape from palace control. But now, without those joint appearances, that brand feels empty. There's no Netflix magic left. The podcast got cut. The Invictus documentary came and went. The momentum's gone. And here's the hard truth. They can't rebuild it with a photo up anymore. The questions are too deep now. Was the pregnancy real? Is the marriage real? Was any of it real? They built a media empire on vulnerability, but now the vulnerability is turning against them. King Charles knows the stakes. A monarchy relies on legitimacy, on the idea that everything, titles, lineage, succession, is airtight. So when people start questioning whether the Sussex children were born via surrogacy without disclosure, that's not tabloid gossip anymore. That's an institutional problem. If Meghan's pregnancies weren't what the public was led to believe, and no royal protocols were followed for surrogacy or declaration, Charles might be forced to act. Quietly, strategically, but firmly. The monarchy doesn't play with ambiguity. And Charles won't let this threaten the crown. Archie and Lilibet deserve privacy. But they are now part of a larger royal question. If their birth circumstances aren't transparent, can their titles remain intact? Can their place in the royal family be upheld if the foundation was built on misinformation? No one wants to drag children into palace drama. But this isn't about personal feelings. It's about constitutional clarity. The public is already asking why no hospital records were ever confirmed, why royal photographers weren't present, why protocol wasn't followed. And the silence is Catherine, who has consistently carried the image of duty first, now finds herself navigating the optics of a fractured institution. While Meghan disappears from view, Catherine shows up steady and serene. But behind that smile is real tension. She knows every camera pointed at her is also comparing her to the woman who tried and failed to challenge the system from within. And she knows that the implosion of the Sussex narrative only sharpens the contrast. Meghan stepped back. Catherine stepped up. And now, the weight of the royal image is on her more than ever. The firm has always played the long game. But this is a full-blown credibility crisis. Meghan and Harry's departure was one thing. The Oprah interview was another. But this potential unraveling of core royal stories is the first real threat to the institution's narrative control in years. And they're not waiting. Insiders say lawyers are reviewing protocols. PR is prepping quiet distancing. There's talk of formalizing the Sussex separation not just geographically, but structurally. This isn't about punishing Meghan. It's about protecting the brand. William, meanwhile, is done with optics. The brotherly bond is broken, and every new revelation only hardens that divide. While Harry sits in California, William is in strategy meetings, appearances, and meetings with advisors. He's not angry, he's focused. Focused on removing risk. Focused on clarifying the future. Focused on rebuilding public trust in the monarchy, not just for his own reign, but for his children's. His move from brother to heir. And Meghan and Harry, they are no longer part of that. As for Meghan, she may not return. Some insiders predict she'll retreat fully from public life by the end of 2026. Others say she's already preparing for that exit, pulling away from Hollywood, from politics, even from philanthropy. The brand doesn't work if no one buys the story. And that story has fractured. Serena's words were the catalyst, but the unraveling started long before. Meghan promised authenticity, but now she's accused of manufacturing every key moment, from the bump to the baby shower to the marriage itself. It's not the fairy tale ending, but it might be the real one. What happens when a brand built on rebellion loses its spark? That's the question hanging over Meghan and Harry now. For years, they framed themselves as survivors, escaping palace oppression, rewriting the rules, building a legacy on their own terms. But the cracks are no longer just personal, they are structural. The empire they tried to build in California is shrinking by the day. The Netflix glow-up faded. Spotify pulled the plug. Their Archewell Foundation hasn't made the kind of impact their team once promised. And with a marriage under strain, their joint identity, their power as a duo, is faltering. They once held the world's attention with a single headline. Now, they are struggling to hold on to relevance. And Serena? She's done waiting for the apology. Her decision to publicly break from Meghan didn't come overnight. It came from years of watching someone manipulate a narrative she once believed in. Whether it was a pregnancy, the baby shower, or the endless headlines, Serena had enough. And she let the world know. There's a reason her words hit so hard. She didn't just walk away. She exposed the scaffolding behind the Sussex image. That behind the glam, behind the curated photos and carefully worded interviews, was a house of cards. And now it's Meghan, once praised a challenging tradition, now faces accusations of constructing her own. And it's not just the royals or her inner circle questioning it. It's a very public she once counted on. Her story doesn't inspire the same fervor anymore. The audience is tired of the contradictions, the mystery, the constant disappearing act whenever the narrative gets too hard to defend. And with Harry reportedly pulling away, it's no longer about royal exile, it's about personal isolation. If she does step back permanently, it won't be framed as empowerment. It'll be read as defeat. And that's a reality Meghan hasn't had to confront until now. The monarchy, cold as it may be, is playing this exactly how it wants. Quietly, with distance. No public condemnation. No dramatic press statements. Just silence. And in that silence, they are winning. Meghan and Harry's fall from grace is no longer a palace problem. It's a self-inflicted spiral. And the firm knows better than to interrupt a downfall already in progress. So here we are. The baby shower, a stage set. The friendship with Serena, burned. The marriage, hanging by a thread. The image, cracked. And the world is watching as the curtain keeps falling. Hit that like if you've been following the chaos. Drop a comment with your take on where it all went wrong. And make sure to subscribe, because if this is how it's unraveling now, the next chapter is going to be even messier.